September was one of those months where there was a bit of divide between either I really liked something or something was a little bit meh. Welcome to the September 2023 reading wrap up. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week and then movie reviews here at the weekend. In the description box below you will find my blog and my Goodreads linked, where I think I've got a review of at least one of these books on there by the time you are watching this. Yes, so I read some books that I really enjoyed this month, and then I read some books that were like less than memorable. 2 audiobooks I really enjoyed. I know I normally start with the ebooks, but I have to tell you about the ones that I really enjoyed this month. I really enjoyed listening to, and read very quickly, Page Boy, which is a memoir by Elliot Page. And I really enjoyed listening to this one because Juno and Whippet are 2 of my very favourite movies. I love watching them. I love rewatching them. I find them a real comfort watch, and so I was really interested in what Elliot Page had to say in this book. I think it gets really personal. I think it gets really honest and is quite sort of raw, but without being like, oh, there was like all these issues going on. Like, there is talk of the movies and there is talk of the fame, and yet there's talk of like realness and relationships at the same time, and so I really respected that, and I enjoyed doing this one on audio since it is narrated by the author. Then another book that I absolutely adored on audio, this one wasn't on my radar. Then I saw it on someone's YouTube video, and it wasn't BookTube, it was just like an influencer's YouTube video. I was like, there's a new Jennifer Weiner out that I didn't know about. How did I miss that? Kind of matches my outfit a little bit today. This one is The Breakaway by Jennifer Weiner. Little pink and orange going on there. We'll let her go of the past to help her ride into the life that she wants. Jennifer Weiner writes fabulous, real rom-coms. And this one, I can give you the pitch that I've given a couple of people that made them instantly download this one. Our main character, our lovely main character, goes on a bachelorette party, hen do, in New York City and has a one-night stand there. Then she goes back home to the safety of the guy that she's been on 2 dates with. She has her 3rd date with him. We know what that means, the 3rd date, and sort of starts a life with him. Then we catch up with her a couple of years later. She's leading this bike ride, in case you can't tell from the picture, from New York City, from Manhattan, through and up to Niagara Falls, so through all of New York State and up to Niagara Falls. Very exciting, great setting, and who should rock up on this bike ride? The one-night stand, and that's all you need to know. It's great because also her mother turns up, and it's just, oh, it was such a good time. It's one of those where you're like, I don't mind sitting in this stationary traffic on the M1 North right now because I'm having a great time listening to this book. I don't mind that my handbrake is on the A1 right now because I'm having a great time listening to this book, and I really enjoyed it, and I was really keen to sort of finish it. I essentially just listened to it over a weekend driving up and down to the north and back again, and you know, when you're like sat in the cinema waiting for the film to start, being like, oh, why didn't I bring my headphones so I can listen to the rest of my book? So yes, 2 audiobooks that I definitely enjoyed there. I also finished listening to Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I've heard people raving about this one. I'm not really sure why. It was fine, but I felt like I was being lectured the whole time, and I didn't want that on my way to school and back. And I didn't feel compelled to get back to this one, and I don't really get the hype, I have to say. So yeah, not for me. It's fine. Obviously, thousands of millions of people, it is for them because it's a big best-selling novel, and I had to wait ages for the audiobook to come off all on my library. So that's fine. Then I did listen to, you'll be pleased to know, this book came out on the Tuesday, not the Thursday. If you haven't already seen my September TBR, look, I'll link it up there. I was cross because this one came out on the Thursday, and, well, so I thought, and Audible doesn't drop it in your library until 8 a.m. And that annoys me because I've already been at work for an hour by 8 a.m. and I would like to listen to it on the day it comes out, and that means listening to it at like 6:30 on my commute into work, and I would like it at that point because surely it comes out at midnight if it comes out on that day. But this came out on the Tuesday, so everything was fine, and I managed to listen to it. This is The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. 2 sworn enemies. Enemies to lovers trope again. 1 failing hotel. Love is the last thing they need. There's a little bit of Christmas in this as well. I'm just putting it out there. A little bit of Christmas in this one. Enemies to lovers. I listened to the audio. I found that the male narrator of the audio, who obviously narrates the male character, was really difficult to hear. I think because they were putting on a Brazilian accent, which when they then did the English accent for the female character in that part, it was obviously a put on accent, and I think they just went a bit too hard, and so I really struggled to hear them properly, and I ended up turning the volume up for the male character and then having to turn it down for the female character, and then turning it back up again and then turning it back down again, which, you know, on a half-hour commute into work, you're not wanting to make that many decisions at 6:30 in the morning. It was, again, the book was fine. I feel like Beth O'Leary's first 3 books I really enjoyed, and then I just haven't connected with the next ones as much. It was fine, and there was a story there was some heart there was some real messages there was some friendship, there was some family there was everything you kind of need and want in a novel, especially a rom-com. But it just didn't sort of hit the mark for me. I wasn't feeling compelled to go back to it. And as I say, having that issue with listening to them, you know, I was having to do the same thing when I was listening with headphones in the gym as well, like turn it up for his and then turn it back down again, which is, you know, distracting when you've got weights in your hand. It's difficult. And so it was an okay read. It was fine. I finished it. I was excited about reading it. But the narration just kind of made it a little bit more difficult. And then the fact that I wasn't entirely sucked into it also made it a little bit more difficult. Then I read, tough read, but you know, You Could Be So Pretty by Holly Bourne, which came out on the 26th of September. So no, I haven't posted my review yet, but I will. And this one says, beauty comes at a price and girls must pay. So this is so interesting. They kind of take the term for iPhone and just call it a device with a capital D. They take the term for makeup and call it masking with a capital M. There's ranking where you've got Instagram essentially, and then you've got all these kind of challenges to be the chosen one, and then the people who don't wear makeup are undesirables, and the people who are past it and their body is sagging and their face is sagging, they're kind of invisibles. And it was just this commentary on society and beauty standards and how, you know, we've come this far and there's all these people talking about beauty standards, and I teach about beauty standards to year 6 children. It's in there in our PSHE discussions, and they're aware of it, but it's not stopping the society that we live in from happening. It's not stopping us from trying to conform to these beauty standards. And there's a point fairly early on in the novel where she goes, you know, your jeans are so tight, if I hadn't helped you, you wouldn't have been able to run away from that guy that was essentially about to rape you. And so it's just it's quite shocking. At the heart of it though, there is some friendship, and there is this theme of bettering yourself through education, as well as just bettering yourself through what you wear and how you look. But yes, there's a message also about how it's basically bankrupting everyone trying to keep up with these beauty standards as well. So as always with a Holly Bourne novel, I do recommend it, but it is definitely some tough reading. And then we've kind of gone in way out of order. Normally I go ebooks, then physical books, then audiobooks, but we did audiobooks, then ebooks, and I actually have the physical book for you. It's so exciting. Again, if you've seen my TBR, you will have seen this physical book, but this is The Hidden Years by Rachel Hoare. Don't be fooled by the bookmark there. We were further into the book. I have read it. This one is A Cornish Summer, A Chance to Uncover the Truth. I'm not always a fan of books set in Cornwall. And there was a bit of a lull in the middle of this one where I did switch off a little bit. I was kind of, you know, reading and turning the pages and what have you. I listened to a little bit of the audiobook as well as reading the physical book, which is why the bookmark moved around an awful lot. But this one, it jumps back and forth in time. So we have Imogen, and then we have Belle. Oh my goodness, that's what it was. There's two Bells in my books, because there's Belle in You Could Be So Pretty, and there's Belle in this one as well. And Imogen Lockhart is in Cornwall and is kind of in the middle of the war and is kind of doing some nursing and working in a boys' school, and she didn't know she was going to be doing that because she was just a mother's helper, and you know, rediscovers an independent life there, as a lot of women did in wartime. And then we have Belle, who's just finished her first year of uni. Well, she's not quite finished her first year of uni, and goes off to Cornwall with this musician to kind of have a bit of independence and a new life there, which a lot of girls in their first year of uni also do. So there was definite like feminist themes here, which I really liked. But then there was a sort of mystery running throughout the book that was quite clear to the reader as to what was going to go on here. You knew that was this connection, and this connection was being alluded to. And I think that's where I got a bit of a lull. And I was reading this with the lovely Hayley, and I said to her at one point, she was like, you know, oh, what do you think of this guy and this guy? And I was like, who's that person? And I just hadn't sort of clocked this other person. I hadn't sort of clocked that they were a separate character. They kind of merged together for me. So I did definitely switch off in the middle, but I liked the premise and I liked the dual narrative aspect. I always love a dual narrative. Even, you know, the fact that the wake up call was a dual narrative as well. But yeah, I did have a bit of a lull in the middle. But that might be because historical is not always my favourite, and we've got a bit of 30s and a bit of 60s, and also books set in Cornwall are not always my favourite, and this is set entirely in Cornwall. So it might just be me on this one. I think it was a nice book. It was nice, it was harmless, it said some things, but it was easy at the same time. And so I enjoyed it, but I'm not saying I massively recommend this one to you. I think, you know, I massively recommend The Breakaway. But I also massively recommend Page Boy. But then the other books I read this month, I don't necessarily... Oh, I know You Could Be So Pretty. Obviously, I recommend that one. But with care. Make sure you take care of the care warnings that come with it. So yeah, it was definitely like a 50-50 split this month, but I'm pleased that I read more than I expected to. I thought going back to school I wouldn't read as much, but then having those couple of audiobooks that I absolutely loved, then yeah, it was good, and it's kind of like made me feel hopeful and hopeful. Sorry, I'm getting so many notifications. Hopeful and positive about my October reading. So please do, as always, let me know in comments what you read in the month of September. Did you read any of the same books as me? Did you manage to fit any non-fiction into your reading as well? And yeah, I did an ebook, a physical book, and some audiobooks, which is great because we've been audiobook only for a little while now. If you haven't already seen my October TBR, I will leave that in the end screen here for you. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, because I've got a couple of book versus movies coming your way very soon, as well as a book haul, which I haven't done in a while, but I have some new books to share with you, so excited for that. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you with my next one. Thanks for watching.